Good afternoon and welcome to our new episode of PCCS's EmPower Hour. My name is Alyssa D'Agusto.
My name is Kevin Roman.
And today we're here with three ladies of the Staten Island Developmental Disabilities Council. With us today we have Marissa Corio, Donna Long, and Barbara Devaney. Welcome, guys, to our Facebook Live show, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Giving us.
Can you guys give us an introduction? Tell us about you, your relationship to the council, and your role there.
Sure, Barbara, would you like to start?
Okay, I'll start. Okay, I'm Barbara Devaney. I am co-chair of the Advocacy Committee of the Council with Donna Long. I'm a former chair of the council, and I am parent of a young man with developmental disabilities. And I work at Community Resources.
Thanks. Donna, you want to give us a little intro?
Sure, I'll go. I'm Donna Long. I co-chair the Advocacy Committee with Barbara Devaney. I've been involved with the council for 39 years. I am a past chair of the council. I have a daughter with autism, soon to be 43 years old. And the council has been and continues to be a great resource for everyone.
Nice. Marissa,
Welcome again, Marissa.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me, and thank you for all the advocacy and outreach that you guys do for us. I really appreciate it. My name is Marissa Corio, and I am the information and outreach person for SIDDC and family support on Staten Island. I can't believe it's been almost a year since we've been able to get together in person, but I think we did a pretty good job staying connected throughout the year. We share resources through our meetings and things like this that you guys do. It's great to stay connected, and I don't feel disconnected to this group in particular. So SIDDC has been around for about 50 years now, a little over 50 years, and we are made up of 12 standing committees. It's really a tough time for most people right now, and I just encourage you to please, whether you're a professional in the field or a parent, share with your network that we're here. We have, like I said, the 12 committees that are they're growing and they're strengthening in numbers, and they're such a great resource for people, whether you have questions about education or self-direction. There's somebody there to help you. So we just really want to share that with people who might not have the resources or know that we're here for them. What else did I want to let you? Oh, going into advocacy, something might not be affecting you right now, but in the future, you never know. You might not be affected by a budget cut or a funding issue now, but we need to stand together and just speak up for the people we care about and the people we provide services to, because if we don't speak up for them, who's going to? So that's another huge part of SIDDC, whether you're coming in for resources or to be an advocate. We really just encourage you guys to be an active participant and just be there and show up for the people that you care about. So in the chat, I'll put our upcoming meeting times and our website so you guys could have additional information. And anything you need, I'll have my contact information in there for you.
Thanks so much, Marissa.
Thank you.
Sure, we would love to be able to share all the resources that the council has, and getting involved and becoming a member. It's so important to be involved within the community, and especially our community. Speaking on advocacy, Barbara and Donna, you both are co-chairs of the Advocacy Committee. Can you tell us about the committee and what you guys do?
Really, the Advocacy Committee, which is one of the committees of the council. There are numerous committees of the council. And as Marissa just mentioned, advocacy is very, very important. But in the times we're in now, the very challenging times we are in now, it's more vital than ever that we advocate, that we join together, that we are one voice in our concerns and our needs. The Advocacy Committee sponsors or coordinates the legislative, or what we refer to as the community breakfast, every year. We also inform and educate our legislators as to what the needs and concerns are for individuals and their families impacted by intellectual and developmental disabilities. And this year is a little different for us, and we've all adapted to our new normal and our new way of doing things. And you know, we decided, because we can't gather together and do our breakfast as we typically do, that we thought it would be a good idea to join with the other boroughs and do a virtual breakfast citywide, that with one voice, with one message, and that it would be very impactful. So this is something new for us, and we are very looking forward to it. We feel that we'll be able to outreach to many more people to be involved and to take part in this virtual breakfast. So we meet weekly in planning that right now. And, you know, I should mention the date is March 5th. It's a Friday, and it is from 10 to 12. And each borough will have a topic of the 5 priorities that we identified for this breakfast. And, you know, I could tell you the topics. It's the residential wait list, education, day program, EI, and clinical. Staten Island's topic will be the residential wait list, because we all know how important that is, and how thousands of people are impacted by waiting for residential placement for their loved ones. So, Barbara, you may want to add to that.
Well, yeah, well, I wanted to say, mine kept going in and out, so I don't know if you even said this, you know, but advocacy, what you said when you started, you know, that it's so important. It's only one of the council's committees. However, it touches on everything. Advocacy right now, I mean, our field is in jeopardy. We're always the first ones to be cut, the last ones to be mentioned, if we're mentioned at all. And advocacy really does affect people young and old, because I just, for, you know, a personal example, and Donna, you could attest to this because Shanine is a little older than my son, Michael. But when they were aging out of school, there were so many programs available. They had their choice of where to go. Because I remember taking Michael on a tour of On Your Mark and Lifestyles and CR. And where would you like to go, Michael? And it was a much simpler avenue for people to travel. It was easier for people to navigate it. Right now, with people and actually being involved in working at community resources and being involved in the council made that a lot easier for me to know what to do. So to bet back on Marissa said, it's very important. The council has a lot of information, a lot of networking available, and a lot of support. So if you don't, like, you really don't know how to navigate this whole system, and especially now because it's much more confusing for parents, I think it's important to join the council, because you can find help there, you know, because this is a whole different world for people that have little kids right now and don't think this affects them. It's going to affect them, because I see that now. And Donna, if you don't mind me mentioning them, both Janine is at home and my son Michael is still at home, and there's no residential development. So, I mean, if there's nothing now for them, there's not going to be anything for, you know, children that are like 5 years old, 6 years old, you know, that are growing up now. It's just not going to be there, because they're just trying to, you know, kind of changing the system. So, I mean, advocacy is extremely, extremely important. We meet with our legislators once a week, and Donna mentioned that, you know, just to tell them what's on our minds and to please bring it back, you know, to the governor, and to bring it to, you know, the people that have committee chairs and have some power in Albany, you know.
And awareness is power. You know, when you're aware of the needs, and you have power to do something about it. And again, we get back to that strength in numbers. And when we were able to be together and we did rallies, and we would take buses to Albany or to Manhattan, and we joined together. And what is so wonderful about what everyone is doing now, the advocacy has not stopped. You know, there was a rally in January there were 1,000 people strong in that, and more people would have been on if the cutoff wasn't at that number. And I think that is so telling, because it shows that there are so many people out there who have concerns, who have these needs and have these fears. I mean, I say this a lot. I'm doing this for 39 years. Never have I felt more scared, more frightened as to what the future holds for my daughter and for many others like her, and who are in need of services. And when you don't have the backing of the oversight agency, it presents a lot of problems. We're kind of left to navigate this new world in services on our own. And Barbara's so right. You know, years ago, it was if you wanted your child in a program, or even for residential, I'd like X agency to, provide services for my child. And it enabled us to have choice. And that's a very powerful word. And our choice is becoming non-existent. And I think now we look at things where it's not even expanding, but it's sustaining the services that will enable our children to have a quality of life. And so we need to have everyone involved.
Absolutely. I'm actually putting now for our viewers to find out how you can join the SIDDC or become a member of Advocacy. To join, visit the website for sure, because it's so true. There is knowledge is power. The more you know, the more you're educated, the more you're able to speak on these issues. And thank you both for, recalling even on a personal level, the issues that you guys are facing currently. So we had received an email this morning that there is a virtual advocacy rally happening today. I think that it's worth mentioning that might be a good first starting point before attending the SIDDC General Council. Let's see what advocacy is about. You could join in your pajamas on Zoom. I think that even as wild of a world we're living in right now, being completely a slave to the computer screen, we're able to really join and get involved in a much easier fashion. It's a lot more accessible to be able to get onto some of these virtual platforms. So in the comments here at 1:15 today, there is going to be a virtual advocacy rally. So do you guys want to touch on that at all?
Barbara, you have that information?
I'm reading it. I have it up on my screen. I have it right in front of me. So it's the New York Disability Advocates NIDA, which is a big group. It's virtual advocacy rally. Make us a priority. It's at 1:15. Angela just sent it out again with the link. It says, I'll just read what it says. It says, join New York Disability Advocates as we urge state legislators and the governor to make people with disabilities a priority, all in caps. And then priority, they go down. So P, prioritize people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Raise wages for direct support professionals. Immunize people with disabilities and staff. Object to rate reductions for providers, because those are getting slipped in the pandemic under the guise of that. Restore the COLA. Implement a moratorium on all cuts to the IDD sector. Target investments in workforce development. And yes to savings or services. Say yes, because that's the big thing. That was the SOS was another mantra that people adopted and we were using. To just save our services, because the way it's going now, I mean, I think the governor has our oversight agency just marches to his orders. And, again, as Donna said it before, and I'll say it again, we're not a mention. We're not important to him. And that needs to change. And I think the louder we get about it and the more we do it, maybe it will.
There's also upcoming advocacy days that start February 22nd to March 5th. And the council will, I don't know if that was sent out already, but the information will be forthcoming on that as well. And in the past, we were able to go during advocacy days or lobby days, go to visit our local legislators and sit with them in their offices and explain what is going on in our world, again, getting back to all the needs and concerns and just educating them and informing them. But of course, in this pandemic, we're not able to do it that way. So this will have to be done virtually via each borough in doing it and arranging to meet with the legislators. One thing I'd like to say that is a bit of a plus for us or an asset to us, that in the Senate and the Assembly, two committees were formed. They're DD committees, and specifically for developmental disabilities. And in the Senate, it is Senator John Mannion, and he is a parent, so that helps tremendously. And then on the Assembly side, it's Assemblyman Tom Abenanti. And so that, I think that is going to help us, because when you walk, you have more compassion, you understand, and I think it will be an asset. I hope it is anyway. But because as parents, you become very strong advocates. So we're hoping in their roles in those committees that will help. And I personally, I think it will. I do.
I think it's a step in the right direction, at least. So
it is, the step that it's been identified as something that as a need is something. And I don't know if that was identified within the legislative body. I don't know. I hate to say, I don't think it was identified by the governor, but by the legislative body, who maybe realized that this is something now that needs to be separated from the full committee. And hopefully, as I said, it works to our advantage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you both for coming. And Marissa, thank you again for coming. But to kind of wrap up, we want to just highlight, again, join the SIDDC. Come to a general council meeting, educate yourself, understand why we do what we do, why we decide to meet together and talk about these issues, because these are real issues that need to be addressed. And also join our breakfast. There's a lot of planning that is going involved. Donna, you have been a superstar during all of the planning of the breakfast. So we're very excited to be a part of that as well. So March 5th from 10 to 12. Keep your eyes open. There will be registration involved. And I want to thank you guys again for coming and sharing your stories.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alyssa and Kevin. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
everything you guys did for us.
Thank you. And for our viewers, thank you again for tuning in, and we will see you next week.